anchor for Team West Coast. Please give it up for John Fugelsang!
Okay, I am not vegan, but I am willing to come to your house and make you feel terrible about yourselves. Welcome to New York City, where only the strongest and most masculine men will beat elderly women and disabled people to the vacant seats on the C-train. A lot of rancor here, a lot of negativity. I think we can all agree that we have a lot in common, namely our seething disdain for flyover country. And LA does have the best Chinese food made by Mexicans, whereas New York has the finest Greek delis run by Dominicans. Now, these guys are all arguing for New York, and let's hear it for them, please, for the East Coast. We're not arguing, we're representing. And first off, Avenue B, great place. I buy all my fentanyl on your block. Secondly, I think it's adorable you're gonna lecture the West Coast about oat milk. Okay, bitch? All right? We're working on twig milk on the West Coast. We're gonna be there anytime. And by the way, our dollar stores are much cheaper on the West Coast. Now, as far as Sydnee, yeah, there's no good rap on the West Coast. No good rap except for NWA, Tupac, Snoop Dogg, and Kesha. Nothing. And by the way, also, sex is funny. The city is funny. Sex in the city, never funny. Now, oh, and by the way, Wakanda, made entirely on in the West Coast, in a CGI studio in Culver City. And yes, you have romantic comedies, we have porn. Who's propping up the economy better in 2018? Finally, Kenny, yes, in terms of the weed thing, I'm a bit hurt you didn't recognize me after all the times I've delivered to your place. But weed is still not legal in New York. New York is where we have stop and frisk. And I don't know why they don't have stop and frisk in Wall Street, because that's where all the real crime is. And all the coke as well. Now, look, it's kind of awkward for me, because I was born in New York, and my parents are from the East Coast, the South, and Brooklyn. Y'all and yous. I grew up in a bilingual household. My son was born right here in Manhattan at Roosevelt Hospital, and I now live with my kindergartner on the Upper West Side because I wanted him to know what it's like to see white women shop. Now, I won't deny that I used to have the same East Coast philosophy, but then California legalized weed, and my Eastern philosophy was beat by my Western medicine. So, and I get it. LA, it's where everybody buys shoes and nobody walks any place. I get it. Look, I tried doing political stand-up in LA. Political stand-up in LA, where they're proud not to know who the fucking mayor is. Okay, I get it. Imagining political aren't you mad about the economy? Don't you care about AIG? Oh, bro, I don't listen to hip-hop. No! But I am the most qualified person up here to defend the West Coast. I lived there for 10 years. I kept my 310 number when I moved back. My stuff sits in storage in North Hollywood waiting for my unlikely return, and I still vote in California. In the last election, I got to do two things you guys didn't do. Feel like a college sophomore by choosing legal porn, legal weed, and no condoms in porn. So here's the thing, what I want to, and by the way, legal cannabis. I mean, do we have to go on? Really? Okay. I'm going to explain to you why the West Coast is better, but why New Yorkers are better, and why we should move out to the West Coast and take over. First off, improving the West Coast superiority, a little history between 1525 and 1866. According to the Transatlantic Slave Trade Database, the East Coast imported 12.5 million humans for slavery. West Coast, zero. Fuck you. And And while you guys were having that civil war, West Coast still pretty much Mexican. Now, geography, this is not just New York versus LA, and I applaud everyone who referenced that. We do have more good cities on the West Coast. This is true. You've got San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, LA, Santa Barbara, Oakland. Drive 4 hours anywhere from LA. You're going to either be in Vegas or San Francisco. Drive 4 hours anywhere on the East Coast from New York. You're going to be in Delaware, maybe Binghamton. Really great. Let's talk about those oceans. Yes, it's true. I don't eat Fukushima fish myself on the West Coast, but Pacific Ocean is so much better than the Atlantic Ocean. You guys have the Bermuda Triangle. We have Moana. Did you see it? It was wonderful. Our ocean is named after peace, man. You guys mock California for breaking off and falling into the water. Your ocean is named after land that sank into the water, okay? I thought of that, you had to hear it. Now, the transit thing. Cars are awful. Yeah, they're not nearly as fun as riding the B train at 5:25 in February. I had the experience of, and I ride a bike most of the time, but of physically touching 8 different people without consent while standing still on a subway car, okay? If you're stopped in traffic in LA, the city's testing you. If you're on a subway touching 8 other people in New York, the city is trying to murder you. Don't forget, you guys know it. Don't let Spring fool you. The city is trying to kill us all. Stopped in traffic is way better than being trapped on a subway. You have your own music or your podcast or the fine programming on Sirius XM. You have weed, of course. You have internet right there in the car during your traffic. And yes, LA drivers are much better at texting and driving than New York drivers. And it's not really a risk because we're all high. We're driving 7 miles an hour. I mentioned legal weed, right? I mean, really, I got to vote for legal weed. What do you got, fucking school zoning? Is that what you vote for here? Finally, culture. This is the big thing we hear all the time. Oh, LA culture sucks. Okay, as far as theater goes, LA is where New York theater people come to do theater so they can be seen because they never want to do theater again, okay? But there's plenty of culture in LA. There's lots of culture. Not as much, but better access. There's so much culture in LA, and nobody's fucking using it. And that's the advantage, New Yorkers. No long lines at the bookstore, no long lines at the foreign films, no long lines in the documentaries or the art galleries. I could go on, I think you know what I'm saying. No long lines anywhere. Fucking Hamilton's at the Pantages, you can walk up and buy tickets every night for that night. You can see Hamilton 7 times in a week if it's playing in LA. It's a New Yorker's paradise. It's where we should all be right now. Oh, there's flakes, there are flakes. Flakes in LA. It's the one city where you can show up on time and still be 20 minutes early. Finally, yes, there are shallow people. Oh, because there's no shallow people in New York, am I right? Oh, they're all so deep here, ladies, right? It's a dating paradise in New York. Let me tell you something, all right? Yes, there are shallow people in both cities, but they're much easier to spot in LA. Usually, what, 3rd, 4th fucking date before you realize you're out with a moron in New York? They'll tell you right away. But it's so shallow. And that's the thing. My biggest selling point for all of you. Yes, millions of shallow people. And that's why it's a New York paradise. Because there's so many people you get to feel superior to all the time. This is what we've been waiting for. You can still wear black all the time, just short sleeves and a night. It's beautiful. Scientology, say what you want. Find me one other religion where you get a beard wife and a pilot's license just for joining. In conclusion, why is the West Coast better? Well, you've got South Carolina. East Coast, Trump. I'm sorry. Come on. We're really going to have legal weed versus Trump? Really? We're going to do this? All I'll say is if Donald Trump really did have an out-of-wedlock child with a housekeeper, the most we would do is make him governor. That's tops, all right? realize it's an uphill battle for all of us. The deck is a bit stacked here, and as a mostly lifelong New Yorker, I know that I've won this competition several times, and maybe not tonight, but that's not the end of the world. And if you guys lose, it's not the end of the world, but if it is the end of the world, we're going to have 3 hours to watch it on TV before it hits us. Thank you very much.